Hello, hello, and welcome to the Rock Metal Podcast. I am your host, John Harris, and today on the Rock Metal Podcast, we have Skreya Kodlan, who has a new album called Apeltredet, which was released on June 11th, 2021 via The Sign Records. Right now I'm being joined by Eric and Martin to teach me more Swedish words and about this beautiful 10th anniversary release of the record, some of the other things that they've got going on. So boys, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Now, the funny thing is... sorry?
A+ effort on the pronunciations.
Oh, thank you, sir. Tonk? Is that how I say thank you in Swedish? Tonk?
Tack.
Tack. Okay. Yeah. Beautiful. Tack. Now, the funny thing for everybody out there in podcast land, YouTube land, wherever you're listening, is I've now been told a couple of times that if I try to speak Swedish with a German accent, I sound Danish, which is... fantastic to find that out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think we were just as surprised to hear that actually worked in that way. So we're discovering new things on this podcast.
Exactly. The How to Speak Danish podcast.
Yeah. Congratulations, Denmark. Your language is just a mix of your two neighbors.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, pretty much.
Isn't that what language is? At the end of the day, somebody's neighbor.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
Basically.
much.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Then you have these like melting pot regions. So if you get close enough to the Canadian border, it's probably hard to discern whether somebody's from the state side or from the Canadian side. But if you start getting further away, like for example, if you were to go up to a Canadian and say that somebody has an American accent, and you were to emulate that, they're probably going to emulate something super extreme from the South. Like, hey, y'all, how you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Despite the fact that there really aren't that many Americans that talk like that, because it's like 300 million people in the country.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah.
Does the same thing happen in Sweden? Like, do you get closer to the border and all of a sudden it's more Norwegian or it's more Finnish?
Definitely,
definitely when you head south. Because the southern parts of Sweden were for a long period of time, part of the Denmark.
You can say occupied if you want to. I don't think.
I
still think
by Denmark.
I think the people from Scania probably more think that we are still occupying as Swedes, but.
That's true. Yeah. So the southern accent in Sweden has a lot of the same kind of vocabulary, vocalization as Danish does.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That explains why I feel like I'm being yelled at.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Very cool. Now, Skreya Kodlan, what does that mean?
It just means the dinosaur. Basically, yeah. It means dead dinosaur. It's an old Swedish word for dinosaur. If you would translate it literally to English, it would be the horror lizard.
Horror lizard?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we used to call dinosaurs in Sweden before the word dinosaur actually became a word in Swedish as well.
Yeah,
wow.
I'm actually very sad. I'm very sad that we adopted the word dinosaur for dinosaurs instead of keeping skräcködla, because calling something a horror lizard is just so much more metal than calling it a dinosaur, I feel.
It is. I mean, that begs so many things. That happens in so many freaking languages where there is an actual real way to say something, and then at some point, either officially or unofficially, something else gets absorbed in. And usually in the last 100, 200 years, it's an English word that gets absorbed in. But before that, it'd be a French word, which we actually see a lot in English, right? Yeah, I tried to look it up on Google Translate, and apparently it says I have the wrong language. I was like, this is a Swedish word. Tell me what it is in English. And it comes back going, did you mean a different language? Because that's not a real word. I'm like, okay.
We really made things difficult for ourselves with picking this band name.
Yeah.
But I guess it's unique.
Yeah, it totally is. Yeah. Completely unique. Now, speaking of unique, one of the questions I was going to ask is, why a 10th anniversary edition of the album? I mean, obviously there's the why not, but, and of course you could always answer with, well, why not? but why a 10th anniversary edition, and what is special about this 10th anniversary edition?
So why we would do a 10th anniversary at all, I think, is just because it's fun to celebrate like 10 years as a band with albums out, and roughly 11 years with bands without an album out, I guess.
Yeah.
But more specifically, we wanted to go in and re-record some of the tracks of this album in Swedish, because originally there were three. This is hard for a non-native English speaker. 3 tracks on the album in English. So we went in and re-recorded those 3 in Swedish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because after all the subsequent albums have always been sung in Swedish, and so there were these 3 tracks on the first album where the lyrics were in English. And the more it kind of became established that the band sung in Swedish, it sort of like became this, these 3 tracks like became they didn't really fit in because of the language. So we wanted to re-record them and sing in Swedish.
Mm-hmm. A thorn in the side of the band, like, I love you.
Yeah,
I love you, child, but
sort of, yeah,
yeah.
Why?
Yeah, so with that we had like a reason then beyond just why not to go in and kind of redo these songs, and that would be a kind of like a fun thing to package in with a 10-year re-release. So it's not just the album, repackaged or remastered. There's new material and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Which 3 songs? Because there's still some songs on here. There's one in Latin. And no, there's another one in Greek, unless you want to consider Chronos. Do you consider Chronos a Greek word or a Latin word? I consider it a Greek word.
I would say Greek. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Greek.
Okay. So we have
definitely.
Yeah.
Did we? No, we didn't sing in Greek on that one, but we should.
No, that's an instrumental one. So
yeah.
It's instrumental in Greek.
It's instrumental in Greek. And Universum, which is Latin, and you guys actually have a playthrough video for that guy.
Yeah, so that's one of the ones we re-released. So on the first version of the album, all of the songs that we sing in Swedish have English titles, I think, or at least all of the songs that... No, how is it, Eric? Help me out here.
Okay, yeah. Oh God, what is it? No, it's weird because the songs that we sung in English have Swedish titles, but the lyrics are in English. But
not all of them. Okay, this is the way it is. So
it's been 10 years. Our memory is...
the song Universe on the original version was sung in English. So that one now has a Swedish title, which is the same as Latin, so it's Universum.
Oh, okay.
But then some of the other songs that were in English had Swedish titles, so they now have English titles but Swedish lyrics.
Uh-huh. Okay. And Cactus.
Yeah, that one was in Swedish back then as well, so that's the same version still.
I would imagine. It'd be kind of interesting if you guys saw a cactus and went, instead of listening to what this thing is called, we're going to come up with our own name for it.
Yeah, true.
But can't say it doesn't happen in language, baby.
It does. But so the 3 songs that I think we went back and did, we redid Universe, we redid Soluppgång and Dödar ödlan. And so those are now Universum, Arise the Sun, and then the third one is, what's the English name for it?
Killizard.
Killizard, yeah. That's the literal translation.
Okay.
Of Dödar ödlan.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys just redo the vocals, or did you actually get in there and... No? Okay.
We did all of it.
Yeah, we booked a studio and we re-recorded it from the ground up, and so that kind of fit in with this 10-year re-release thing, because then you get the songs but with our updated sound, like how we sound now, how we play now, and all these things. And also I had this was my first recording with the band, so it was also a chance to play these old songs, but with I was able to play bass on them.
Okay, my initial question was going to be, okay, so you guys are re-recording some songs after 10 years. And my question that I'm formulating out of the ether right now is basically, what was that like? What did you do differently? Did that guys give you the chance to go, cool, we didn't have the time to do it right then, and we lived with it for these last 10 years. Now we have the chance to turn the fuzz pedal 2 seconds to the right, or whatever it is.
Sort of. I mean, one thing that definitely changed is that we went into the studio with, like, instead of this being the first album that we were doing and being nervous, we went in there having done, like 3 full-length albums and being, confident in our performances, confident in our instruments. So I think the takes and the actual recording itself is just a lot more confident in itself. The takes are better. We're better players, now after 10 years. So that's, one thing we were able to do right this time.
We also changed some things around, like we basically play them like we would play them now live if we were to play them now. We haven't really been playing these songs live because they are in English, and so we look forward to actually doing that once live music is a thing again.
So if you guys were to play a song in English, would beers get thrown at you, or like what would happen?
No, not really. I just think we weren't really confident in singing in English because it isn't our native language, and I don't think for us we can't really express ourselves like truly in English the way we want to, or it doesn't hit you in the feelings the same way.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it also becomes this kind of it just adds a unique flavor, I think, to kind of sing in a language that, first of all, isn't English, because that is the kind of the dominant language for music, and then to not only that, but to sing in a language that pretty much 4 people in the world speak Swedish. It's not a big language, you're not being very commercially smart by singing in a language that appeals to so few people. But like you said, Martin, it's a lot easier to express ourselves, and
I think you're being emotionally smart for your own sake, since we are playing stoner rock, so we're not in a genre that's commercially viable anyways. So there's no other reason to do it other than for yourself, and then hope that somebody else will actually like this stuff that we're doing and so forth. But mainly you're doing it for your own sake, so why not then do it for your own sake all the way? And however well spoken any native Swedish speakers might be in English, or maybe not so much some other native Swedish speakers in English might be, I think that to really freely express yourself and to really get the correct feeling out into the lyrics, you kind of have to go with your native language for singing. At least that's how we've felt. Every time we've tried to write lyrics in English, it's always ended up feeling like something you've created rather than something that comes from within.
That was deep, Martin. Because that totally is the case. Even as fluent as you could be in another language, for some reason, because no one's born with language, but because you spoke it for less time, it's I don't know. It's kind of an interesting thought. I've studied languages before. I've raised a couple of kids. Definitely don't come out speaking a language, understanding a language. It's something that, you learn over time. But I guess just because of the length of time that you've spoken your native language, which is funny because there's nothing native about it at all.
No.
A child is born in Sweden, they're going to speak Swedish unless, of course, they're in a house that doesn't teach them Swedish, right? So,
Yeah.
my kids were born in Canada, and we taught them English. Doesn't mean that they come out speaking both languages.
No.
So,
No, definitely. So, had we grown up, if we had grown up in an English-speaking country, we would probably be singing in English.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You guys grew up in Sweden, so you guys have really good baked goods and tasty meatballs and falcon.
Yep. That's all our songs are about.
Okay.
But no one's noticed it yet because they don't understand Swedish.
Exactly. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I'm listening to the song, and I'm like, this. I think I read this on a sign somewhere at IKEA. Holy shit! This is
This is where we get our inspiration from. We just find the coolest signs in there and make a song about it.
beautiful. All right, boys.
Yeah.
So, is there anything that we missed? We chatted about, oddly enough, speaking Danish. We chatted about singing in Swedish. We chatted about horror lizards. We chatted about the 3 tracks that are re-recorded completely. I guess my other question is, how did you guys get the album? The other, was it 7 songs? I didn't even count. But let's just argue the other songs. Yeah, there's 10 tracks. So the other 7 songs that were 10 years ago and the 3 songs that you've re-recorded today, does it sound like a compilation, or were you guys able to get an engineer to mesh that together enough?
I don't think we really went for trying to fit the sounds together at all. We just went for the best possible representation of what we want to sound like today, because the old version is still there. The old version is still going to be up everywhere, and you're still going to be able to buy the old version, and you're still going to be able to listen to the old version online. So this new version isn't really taking anything away. So we just went with don't even think about the old album. Let's just do these 3 songs and make the sound as heavy and fat and nice as we can with what we know now 10 years later. And then we had our mastering engineer just put them together. But I think what he said was also that I'm not going to try and make them sound like they're one single thing, because they aren't. So it's more like a compilation.
Okay. And the Sign Records was totally cool with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since we're actually releasing, I think we're releasing 1,000 copies of the new and improved, so to speak, version. We're releasing 1,000 copies of the trusty old original version, and then we're also releasing a box set of 500 boxes with also a vinyl with the demos that became the album.
Wow. And I'm seeing that they're not going cheap. They're going 180 gram vinyl here.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's nice.
That is super nice. Yeah. Tell Valdemar over at the Sign that he's a very nice young man.
We will.
We will.
Okay.
He is a very nice young man.
Beautiful. All right. So, boys, we chatted about speaking Danish, singing in Swedish, horror lizards. We chatted about re-recording of those few songs. We chatted about a lot of really cool things, even IKEA at one point. We've missed ABBA, but that's okay. And yeah, anything that I missed, boys, or is that it?
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that sums up the band.
We're
nicely.
looking forward to this pandemic being over and being able to get out there again and meet everybody. It's going to be so nice. We've been locked up for too long now.
I agree.
Yeah. Hopefully we will be able to see everyone in a sweaty underground basement club somewhere.
Yeah,
just
baby.
hang out.
That's the dream.
Sweaty
That's
and
the
dirty,
dream.
like that bass tone.
Yeah.
At this point, there doesn't even have to be anyone show up. Actually, I just want to go to sweaty basement and play music.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. No one's here, but the basement's sweaty. I dig it.
Yeah.
Throw me a
Hang out here.
falcon, baby. Horror lizards in the house. All right, gang. You have a what was I going to say? Oh yeah, thank you for coming on to the Rock Metal Podcast today.
Thank you for having us.
Much.